Hey folks, how you doing? We're gonna do a martial arts video, martial arts vlog, and I know what you're thinking. Martial arts, sitting down. Who in the fuck are you, Steven Seagal? If you don't get that reference, Google it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Um, but to be told, I trained by myself today. Trained with Brenda. Unpacked a lot of boxes today. I've already taken a shower. It's 10 o'clock at night. So I'm gonna show you a concept that, since I can't, that as far as over the internet, being in this space will make it much easier to understand. So, because like Kali, up until very recently, was just passed down father to son. Two guys, face to face, and they would taught each other moves that way. This concept of like 20 guys in a class with an instructor up front, not really something that they did a lot of. Even when we were in class, he'd show us something and then we'd pair up to practice it because you need to feel all this stuff. So, just follow me on this. This is a knife. A knife is used for slashing, and a knife is used for stabbing. Okay. So, I'm going to teach a concept today that I call slipping the knife. Now, one of the things I was taught about Kali is that when you're stabbing, you should be constantly turning the knife. And I was told that that was to twist the wound to make it harder to close. From EMS, I don't. It might, as to whether it makes it harder to close, I don't know about that. But what is a more important concept for making sure you do that motion is, they say if the knife gets stuck, but what is called slipping the knife makes this motion very important, and you'll see in a minute. Okay? So, first next part, I want you to get as close to me as possible. Close to me as possible. Get right up on the camera. Okay? Then, we're going to sit here for a second. Okay. Now, for some of you, maybe not all of you, some of you, there is a part of your lizard brain that, even though everything up here knows rationally that this is a computer screen, it can't hurt you, that when you saw my hand come up, you may have flinched back or put your hand up. This being the important part to stop my hand. Okay? If I did this face to face with you and didn't give you any warning, you would probably do this. Now, that is why slipping the knife is important. So, if I stab at you, right? Chances are you're going to go like this to block it, right? You're going to put your hand on it to block it, to push my hand away, right? Right? So, I'm going to whack your hand away and pull the knife. Now that's going to give a cut. Again, not a kill shot, but it's a cut, right? So when I slash, okay, and you're stopping me, right? Next thing I'm going to do is come up for an eye rake, or I'm going to come to your chest. Let me move this back to adjust this angle a little bit. So I've done this cut, right? Come back this way, right? So if you catch my hand, I'm going to turn and cut your wrist this way, right? So this retracts and I stab again, right? And you try to grab my hand, and then I'm turning so that when I retract, I'm cutting again. So this goes back to our defanging the snake, right? So when you're stabbing, you should be practicing this movement. What I would encourage you to do, if you're really trying to learn this, is just stand with a butter knife and just ask somebody to grab your hand every time you do it. Put a little lipstick on that butter knife and just do this. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be strong. And just notice how many marks of lipstick are on their hands. And you got to figure, how much do you not like putting your hand in your pocket with a paper cut, okay? And how much worse is it going to be if it's an actual forceful cut with a knife, okay? So, again, if I'm stabbing, right, and you put your hand up to block it, right, and you stop my hand and I turn and I cut your hand, okay, right? So if you stop my hand and I turn and cut your hand, or if I'm slashing, right, and you put your hand up to stop it and I just slip the knife under. Another concept is if I put my hand up to block it, coming under and hitting the ribs, okay? So this concept of slipping the knife, okay, turning back and forth is very important. Now, it can also be very important when we are doing trapping. So, if you put your hand up, or if I attack you like this, say I get back here and I go like this, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna put your hand here to stop it from hitting you in the face. Human reaction, right? But if I then flip and cut as I pull away, so if I do this and then grab your wrist and do this and pull out this way, I'm going to cut your hand, right? So here, slide. Here, slide. Here, slide. Here, slide. The point being isn't, while they may tell you, oh, they won't be able to sew the wound shut, who gives a fuck? If they tell you, oh, you may get stuck in the bone and twist it out. I think if you're aiming for the right spots, that's not going to be the case. But what is the case is that when you're pulling that knife back, okay, you are twisting it for the point of you're breaking the grip and cutting. Because you're using your other hand. So if I do this, okay, even with just a hammer fist, and I want my hand back because you're blocking it, I'm going to push the hand out of the way and go like this again, right? And then, if you grab it again, I'm going to roll to pin your arm down, and I'm going to hit again. So, this concept. Here, I block your hand out of the way, I hit again, I roll over, and I hit again, and now you grab my hand some way, and I twist and cut your fingers, okay? And I'm not saying it's going to be like an amputation, okay, or something like, oh, they'll never find the bones. No, even this, Purell. How many of you gotten this? How many of you people have gotten this in a paper cut and then tried to put in your hand in your pocket? I'm sure anybody who's a nurse or any kind of healthcare, or anybody who worked through the pandemic in an office knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm still 100 to this day convinced that the only thing this does is tell you where the wounds are that the germs are going to get in. But just a concept. You guys have a good night.